It's time to get a checkup on the news now with our Monday reporter, Angela Chung. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend.
I did. A little busy with
Yeah.
the midterm and studying, but yeah, it was a nice weekend.
Well done. Very productive. All right, let's begin with the first news item. It was all over the news during the weekend, and it's because we've hit a major milestone in the fight against the coronavirus. The nation's vaccination rate has finally reached its goal of 70%.
That's right. According to South Korea's COVID-19 vaccination task force, 70% of the entire population has been vaccinated as of yesterday, 24th of October. Among adults aged 18 and older, the vaccination rate is even higher with 81.5%. 79.4% of the nation's population has gotten their first vaccine shot. And given the fact that South Korea began its national vaccination program at a relatively later stage, it's viewed that the vaccination rate made rapid progress.
Right. In just 240 days, I believe we reached this milestone. And that's thanks to a lot of things, of course. Administration, the very fast kind of 빨리빨리 nature, and also all of the citizens' cooperation as well. The 70% milestone was very important, and all that 80% for the adult population as well. Very significant, right?
Yes, it's a very meaningful step as it means South Korea has met two critical preconditions set by the nation's health authorities at an early stage of the pandemic. Reaching these 70 and 80% marks simultaneously means we're now ready to transition towards living with Corona era, where people literally live with COVID-19 with more relaxed day-to-day restrictions with the aim of returning to a new normalcy. With these progresses, now the possibility is higher that the transitioning period will begin anytime soon. In case you're worried, the transition will be phased in gradually, starting by relaxing social distancing restrictions for lifeline businesses first, such as restaurants and cafes.
Right. So it's going to look a little different from some overseas countries where we saw they did away with all the restrictions. For us, it's going to be much more gradual. And this is, of course, we've seen what happened in some of those countries. And also because the number of cases here in Korea, they are not really going down that significantly.
That's right. 25 new confirmed cases have been reported in Busan, bringing the cumulative total to over 13,600 in the region. And routes of transmission have not been identified for 4 new cases. A cluster infection case was reported in one public bathhouse, and new virus cases are being reported in other regions as well.
All right. Now let's move on to our second story. And it's also kind of related as we transition to back to normal or back to before COVID. It's regarding subway and bus systems here in Seoul going back to sort of normal hours.
Yeah, starting from today, October 25th, nighttime subway and bus systems in Seoul will go back to normalization after a 4-month limit on their operations. The Seoul city government has put a limit on the operation of the city's public transportation to contain the spread of virus. And since July 9th, Seoul city has reduced the operations of nighttime transportation after 10 p.m. by 20%.
Now, this was aimed at sort of discouraging people from going around at nighttime. But of course, for those who have to work in the night times, it's been very difficult. So this is good news, especially for those who have to work the night shifts. Tell us more about how this transition is going to be introduced.
Yes, so the Seoul city government will phase in the nighttime operation, and it will first reopen the operations of subway line number 259, Ui Sinsar line, the city buses and local shuttles today, and the reopening subway lines number 3 and 4 will follow on December 1st. And as you mentioned in our first story, we should not to be too complacent with this relaxation measure yet because the number of users at nighttime transportation has increased after the government lifted restrictions on nighttime operations last month. Indeed, on the weekdays of the second week of October, the number of subway users at nighttime recovered almost to pre-COVID-19 levels with an 80% increase.
All right, let's make sure to keep our masks on when we use such public transportation. Moving on to our last item. Kim. Now, the weather has been really kind of weird over the past couple of weeks. It was winter, and now I hear we're going to be kind of entering fall weather again. But we really need to be a little bit more careful when it's cold, right?
That's right. So, have you ever experienced when you felt cold and chill, but after the government warned about those days?
Not so much because I think I have a lot of heat in my body, so I tend to do better in the cooler days. But
Wow.
I guess you have experienced some troubles.
Yes, whenever I hear that it's going to be cold, the
Hmm.
actual day sometimes, oh, it's not that cold. But
Right.
then a couple of days later, I feel really chilly and it's
Oh.
cold.
Hmm.
So I feel like it's important to stay up to date with this weather forecast. And actually, a team of researchers from the Korea Meteorological Administration, KMA, actually found a correlation between forecasts of cold weather impact and the number of people suffering from conditions related to cold weather, but a day after or 2 days afterwards.
Interesting. Kind of reminds me of our parents always saying, "Ah, 감기 걸릴 거야. It's cold. Make sure you bundle up." So tell us more about this research.
So, the research team of KMA identified a pattern that more people suffer from cold and chilly weather a day after KMA warned against cold or chilly weather. KMA expressed this correlation from a score of -1 to 1, 1 meaning the direct proportion, whereas -1 means inverse proportion. So when KMA warned for a large number of regions, the number of people who suffer from cold-related medical conditions also increased. So if we confine the result to higher stages such as warning or danger, the correlation coefficient increases up to 0.87. So it means people should check and listen to weather forecasts more carefully in order to prevent cold-related health risks.
All right. So you've mentioned how important it is, especially with the coming winter. Tell us more about how KMAs impact forecasts for the cold weather and how we should kind of watch out for them.
So KMA gives impact forecasts for cold weather when the possibility of an impact from the weather is high. KMA officially began this impact forecasting for cold weather in November last year to inform how big of an impact will be for 6 areas. For the magnitude of impact of cold weather, KMA has 4 different stages. First is notice, second is caution, third as warning, and fourth as danger. So KMA gives notice when a slight impact is expected for some vulnerable groups. It issues caution when impact is expected for target regions to a certain degree. Warning is issued when significant impact is expected in a number of parts. Danger is issued when the impact from the cold weather is expected in most regions for a long time.
So, in addition to the regular weather forecast, we should be more aware of this impact forecast from the KMA as well, since it'll impact our health. Thank you very much for those updates. Very useful. Angela, have a great week, and we'll see you
Yes.
next time.
See you.